Hello and welcome to this video. If this is your first time on my channel, then please hit subscribe and like, and yeah, that's good enough. Let's do this. So as you all may have seen in my building a chair video, I am wearing a huge brace on my left knee. It's not huge, it's actually quite regular. Nah, screw it, we're doing this in one take. I wear this brace because exactly a month ago now, I dislocated my kneecap. So I work at this company called Discount Tire as a service tech. So that means I am in the back working on the cars. On August 20th, I was in the back. It was around 10:30, 11:30 maybe. And I was lifting a tire to mount it onto the wheel. We have these big machines to help us with it, and I don't know, I must have twisted wrong or stepped wrong because I felt my kneecap just shift to the side. I immediately dropped the tire and tried putting weight on my knee, but it obviously didn't work. So I fell to the ground on my left side. I was just clutching my knee and looking at my coworker. I love this girl. She ran over to me when I didn't get up, and she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I looked at my knee, I looked at her, I looked back at my knee, and I said, "I think I dislocated my kneecap." And she looked at me, looked at my knee, looked back at me, and was like, "I think you're right." So my boss came out and stood by me while the supervisor was calling the ambulance, and I was shaking and trembling and crying on the ground as I waited for the EMTs to show up. Okay, so when the EMTs got there, they tried sticking me for an IV 4 times, and they failed 4 times. They ended up giving me the pain meds through my nose, and then they waited a bit for those to kick in. While they waited for them to kick in, my entire body started stiffening. And the thing about your body stiffening is your legs straighten out. So my legs were straightening out while I had a dislocated kneecap. As you can imagine, this was incredibly painful. So I was screaming on the ground. Eventually, my mom showed up. One of the EMTs had called her with my phone. So she was there when the EMTs they kind of shuffled me over onto a tarp and wrapped my knee up in a blanket before lifting me up onto the stretcher to get me into the ambulance. Any movement at all was just so painful. But I made it into the ambulance and we were on our way to the hospital. God, this was a very traumatic experience, and I shake every single time I retell the story. When we got to the hospital, there was a 30-minute backup for the ER. So I ended up sitting in the hallway for half an hour while the pain meds wore off. The EMTs did stay with me. They had to until I got into a room, and they were honestly very kind. They were checking in on me every now and then, just staying by my side. But eventually I got in the room, and they had to shift me off of the stretcher thing? The gurney? Not gurney. Is gurney the right word? I don't know. The rolly hospital thing. Rolly ambulance thing that you see in movies. And they had to shift me off of that onto the bed, the hospital bed. So I screamed again when they did that because by this time there was no pain meds in me. It wasn't enough medication in the first place. So The doctor came and he looked at my leg, and usually when a leg straightens out with a dislocated kneecap, the kneecap will pop back into place. Mine did not do that. So the doctor, he looked at my leg and thought that maybe I broke my femur along with my dislocated kneecap. So since we weren't sure why my kneecap wasn't popping back into place on its own, we needed to get x-rays, and that meant more touching and moving of the knee. Luckily, they had a little x-ray machine that they were able to roll into the room, so I didn't need to move at all yet. They did need to place a towel or something under my knee to prop it up a bit and get the right angle for the pictures. So that was painful. I screamed again at that. But luckily, there was nothing wrong with my femur. It was just the kneecap. So the doctor came back in, and I remember I looked at the doctor and I was like, please just put me to sleep, please. And he's like, yep, we're gonna put you to sleep. And so a nurse came in, and I had an IV in at this point. The nurses at the hospital were easily able to get one in. And so they put me to sleep, and the doctor just popped my knee back in place. I am told, I don't remember this, but I am told that I sat up screaming when the doctor popped my kneecap back in place. But I don't know. I don't remember it, and I'm not complaining. When I woke up about half an hour later, a nurse was there to help me get into a wheelchair. They had put my knee in a immobilizer, and they sent me on my way, telling me to see an orthopedic surgeon doctor. So I did. A week later, I was able to get into the orthopedic place, and that's where they gave me a new brace, one that I could start walking around in, putting pressure on my leg when I felt ready for it. And since then, it's just been a lot of dealing with insurance companies and the workman's comp company and physical therapy. So I am on the road to recovery. I am expected to make a full recovery. It's been an experience. The first week, I wasn't able to move much. And so that meant that my family really had to help take care of me, which was hard on me because I don't like it when people take care of me. It's been a learning experience. I started college in a wheelchair. So, I don't recommend it. Kind of sucks. Hurts a lot. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's all I got. Have a great day, and I hope to see you next time.